Welcome back to Wikilert.
Today's news casts a heavy shadow over the slopes. Just this morning, September 16th, 2025, the Italian Winter Sports Federation confirmed the heartbreaking loss of Matteo Franzoso, the 25-year-old downhill and Super G specialist who succumbed to severe head injuries from a training crash 2 days earlier at La Parva Resort in Chile. He would have turned 26 tomorrow, a milestone now forever marked by silence. Matteo crashed through 2 layers of safety netting before slamming into a barrier 6 to 7 meters off the course, suffering major cranial trauma that led to cerebral edema and, despite being airlifted to a Santiago clinic and placed in a medically induced coma, proved too much for his young body to overcome. It's the kind of tragedy that stops you in your tracks, a reminder of the raw risks these athletes embrace for the love of the mountain. And as tributes flood in from the global skiing community, from Olympic legends like Lindsey Vonn, who skied that very slope just weeks ago, to his teammates reeling in disbelief, it's clear Matteo was more than a racer. He was a rising force, full of promise, and that quiet fire that lights up the Italian team. Matteo's story started amid the snow-dusted peaks of Sestriere, Italy, where he was born on September 17, 1999, into a world that seemed tailor-made for him, crisp air, endless runs, and a family that nurtured his every daring descent. From his earliest days, he was glued to his skis, that infectious grin flashing as he carved his first turns, turning what could have been just a winter pastime into an all-consuming passion. By his teens, he'd caught the eye of scouts, racing through the junior circuits with a fearlessness that belied his youth, and by 2020, he was already making waves, finishing 4th in the downhill at the World Junior Championships, a near miss that only fueled his drive. Imagine him there, heart pounding under the starter's gate, the wind whipping past us. He leaned into the fall line, chasing not just podiums, but that pure rush of flight. He broke into the World Cup circuit in 2021, logging 17 starts across Super G and downhill events, with his career highlight coming in January 2023, a gritty 28th place finish in the Super G at Cortina d'Ampezzo, right on home snow, where the roar of the Italian crowd must have felt like wings. And let's not forget his Europa Cup triumph that same year, a Super G win that stamped him as one of the Azzurri's brightest speed prospects, training alongside icons like Dominic Paris and Christoph Innerhofer, absorbing their wisdom while adding his own spark to the group. What stands out most about Matteo, though, is how he carried himself off the hill, with a humility that made him a favorite among peers and coaches alike. He wasn't the type to chase the spotlight. Instead, he'd linger after sessions, chatting with younger racers about line choices or gear tweaks, sharing stories from his junior days that always ended in a laugh. His social media glimpses painted a fuller picture, post-race hugs with his parents, who traveled the circuit like guardian angels, or quiet moments in the Dolomites with his siblings, building snow forts long after he'd outgrown them. Family was his anchor, the steady rhythm to the adrenaline highs, and you could sense it in the way he'd credit them in interviews, his voice softening as he spoke of Sestriere barbecues or late-night strategy talks around the dinner table. Even as injuries nipped at his heels, a nagging knee issue here, a minor crash there, he'd bounce back with that trademark resilience, eyes fixed on the Milan Cortina Olympics come February, dreaming of carrying the Italian flag down those familiar slopes. Financially, Matteo lived the lean, focused life of an up-and-coming pro, his net worth likely in the low 6 figures from World Cup earnings, sponsorships with Italian gear brands, and those Europa Cup payouts that helped cover travel and coaching. It wasn't about the money for him, it was fuel for the next run, invested in better boots or a family trip back home. He poured his energy into the craft, endless gym sessions, video breakdowns of runs, and that unyielding belief in himself, proving that true wealth in this sport comes from the scars and the summits, not the statements. Yet, it's the little anecdotes that make Matteo's absence ache so deeply, the ones that humanize a hero gone too soon. Teammates recall how he'd crank up Italian rap in the team van on the way to La Parva, turning a tense prep drive into an impromptu sing-along, easing nerves before a big session. Or that time in 2022 at Beaver Creek, when a shaky downhill left him mid-pack. Instead of sulking, he grabbed his board for a sunset free ride, whooping with joy as he linked turns under the Colorado stars, reminding everyone why they signed up for this wild ride. His death hits especially hard, coming just months after the loss of 20-year-old Matilda Lorenzi in a similar training fall. Last October, a double blow that has the Italian skiing world grappling with grief and resolve, prompting calls for even tighter safety nets and support systems. The International Ski Federation echoed the sorrow, vowing to honor his spirit by pushing boundaries safely. While back in Italy, flags at half-mast in Sestriere feel like a collective exhale as we wrap our arms around Matteo's family, his parents, siblings, and the tight-knit racing crew who became his second kin. It's his legacy of unbridled passion that endures, a call to cherish every gate and every glide. He wasn't just chasing speed, he was living it, full throttle, and in that, he touched us all. If Matteo's fearless journey has stirred that mix of awe and heartache in you, the beauty and brutality of pushing limits, please give this video a like and subscribe for more stories of souls who raced toward the horizon. It keeps their fire alive. Thanks for being here. Hold your loved ones close out there.